An impressive field if you want to break it all down. So what does the field of the Sweet 16 look like? Well, how about this? There are 11 leagues represented in the Sweet 16. That does tie a record set back in 1991 and 2010. So Gonzaga is into the Sweet 16. That is 8 consecutive trips to the Sweet 16 for Gonzaga, which among all of the Sweet 16 teams is the longest. Houston has 4, Arkansas 3, UCLA 3, and Miami with 3 are the only schools with active streaks. Now, top seed Alabama. They do advance to the Sweet 16 thanks to a second-half performance, an impressive second-half performance. They pull away from Maryland, 73-51. So Alabama will get 5th seed San Diego State in Louisville, Kentucky on Friday. Javon Quinterly, 22 points, 9 of 14 shooting. He led Alabama on Saturday, 4 of 6 from behind the arc. Brandon Miller, 19.7 boards. Charles Bediako, 10 points, 10 rebounds in the win for Alabama down there at the BJCC. Now, as for Alabama, they will be making its 9th NCAA Sweet 16 appearance in program history, 2nd in the last 3 years. Head coach Nate Oates improves to 10-3 in 13 postseason games while at the helm of Alabama. Now, he also improved to 4-2 in 6 NCAA tournament appearances at Alabama, including a pair of Sweet 16 showings. And that 22-point win over the Terrapins matched the Tide's second largest NCAA tournament win in program history. Their margin of victory in its 2 games in Birmingham was 21.5 points per contest, including 2 of their 5 top margin victories in the program's tournament history. So overall, yes, it was a successful 2 games in Birmingham for Alabama. Now they make the short 4-hour drive up to Louisville, and that's where the Sweet 16 will be for Alabama, is in Louisville. So they get San Diego State. We'll talk about their path going forward for Alabama here in just a little bit, and we're going to talk about the rest of the field going on. But how is your bracket looking? The 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bracket Challenge presented by Talent Heating and Air is obviously in full swing. And we do have right now Sheldon Sharp is our leader there on the 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bracket Challenge. He has 470 points to lead the field. He does have Houston, I'll say he. I assume it's a he, but Houston leading it right there. Now, I'm sitting in 22nd place. Where are you sitting in the in our 97.7 bracket?
6th.
6. We don't have a 6. We got 2 and a 7.
Well, I mean, I clicked on the bracket yesterday, and after the Gonzaga game, which I lost, I've got 9 of the Sweet 16 left. So I've got 3 for the final 4 teams, and I believe it said I was 6th overall in the group. What do
they have you? What did you put your team name as?
I didn't. My team name is just basically my initials. I believe it's Drew D4UA1, and it's an old username. I've been on ESPN for a long time, but I was checking the tournament challenge, and Drew D4UA1 tied. Well, I'm tied for 6th. Let's see. It looks like there's 5 of us, and tied for that spot. So. Yeah, Mongo definitely is winning right now, and
no, Sheldon Sharp is winning right now.
Well, I was just looking at the ESPN 97.7.
Oh, I don't think that's our bracket.
Okay. then I'm not in the right contest. Because I was told that was ESPN 90.77 HSV is what I was told was our bracket. So if I'm not in the right one, so be it. But that's the one I was told was that it was ours. So that's the one that I'm competing in. There's 50 plus entries, and it says I'm tied. I'm in about a 5-way tie for 6th place.
Well, we'll have to try to see if we can get you in there. But 97.7 ESPN Bracket Challenge presented by Talent Heating and Air. We still got a couple weeks left, but congratulations to everyone that has partaken in the bracket challenge so far. And I just hate it for the person that picked Texas to win there. So we got one down there in 170th.
Texas is still alive, so they're good.
Yeah, they can get. Yeah, they still have Texas, but they had a rough showing down there early on. But anyway, the Sweet 16 matchups are all set going forward, and this is how they will look going into next weekend. You do have games on Thursday. Michigan State will take on Kansas State. That's going to be the very first game there in the Sweet 16. Kansas State was able to knock off Kentucky over the weekend. And Kansas State head coach Jerome Tang, I don't know, this guy had been an assistant there at Kansas State for he was at Texas Tech for a long time before coming to Kansas State. But here is what he had to say after the win over Kentucky.
Jerome, how much of a statement is this for you in your program? First year, beat a program like Kentucky, and you're going to New York to play in the Sweet 16.
Well, we have a program that's rich in tradition also, and like all those old dudes that played for Kentucky, they ain't coming back, right? Tradition does not help you if you don't get out there on the floor and play with some dudes, and we had more dudes than they did today.
That was his comments after the win over Kentucky. If you are Kentucky and John Calipari, you have not done very well. One win in 3 years in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I had them going out. This is one of them. One of the games that I hit. I had K-State eliminating them. I just didn't think Kentucky had enough firepower. Sheboy was tremendous. I mean, he had another double-double with 25 and 18. But the key was the guy that their glue guy, that their best defender, he's so athletic, double-digit scorer, averages nearly 13. Jacob Toppin only had 2 points, went 1 of 7, couldn't get it going. Wallace did a nice job. He ended up with 21 and 9. But then the other guy too, Antonio Reeves, who really down the stretch had played much better. The transfer from Illinois State, he went 1 for 15 and 1 of 10 from 3, and that make wasn't until I want to say less than a minute to go in the game. So he just could not get it going from the field. And with Reeves and Toppin being struggling offensively, Sheboy, who only had 8 points in the first round but 25 rebounds, it was just too much. They didn't have enough offensively, and the whole issue with Kansas, that K-State presented, and it was the Kentucky issue all year, is guarding the ball, and they just could not. They could not guard. Kansas State at all. And Noel, who's the Group of 5 transfer, Marquise Noel, he came in averaging 17 and nearly 8 assists, and he did a lot more than that, man. He had 27, I think, and 9 assists. And they also had the transfer from Arkansas, Devin Sills, who had also pit-stopped at Arkansas State. He had 12. Johnson and Tomlin had 13 and 12. So they had a balanced score sheet against Kentucky. They got the balanced scoring that Kentucky needed, and Noel was the difference with his dribble penetration and his three-point shooting late. He made some big shots. The game really turned in the last couple of minutes. Back-to-back threes by K-State turned a 1-point deficit into basically a 5-point lead, and it was a death blow for Kentucky.
Does it say anything about John Calipari?
Not really. I mean, they're going to reload. They've got a recruiting class coming in that's going to be great. We'll see how good that team ends up being. But, at Kentucky, it's like Alabama football. If they don't win the national championship or make the Final Four, everyone's unhappy. But, look, man, I honestly think when you look at that roster and, kind of Jerome Tang, kind of the longtime Texas Tech assistant that's in his first year at K-State, kind of referenced it. I said it too when I watched Alabama hammer Kentucky by about 40. This roster for this particular year at Kentucky, I know Sheboy was the reigning national player of the year, but they didn't have a lot of dudes. They didn't have a lot of future pros. Wallace will probably be a first-round pick, but he's probably the only one.
But that's always been the knock, though. People have said that if Calipari doesn't have all the pros, he's not been able to coach.
It is what it is. Look, man, he still got to the second round of the tournament. I'll be honest, when you go back and look at Kentucky's history, and Kentucky has a rich one. They're a blue blood. They've got 8 national titles. But think about it. When their last title had been in '78 until Pitino won one in '96, and then they played in 3 straight finals, '96, '97, '98, and they won 2 of the 3. But since that period of time, they played they won it all in 12, and Calipari won it once. But what I'm saying is, and I think the last Final Four was in 2015, so when they were trying to go undefeated, it's not easy to make the Final Four, and then to top it all off, it's not easy to win national championships because think about it. It had been, almost 15 years since they had won it when they won it in 2012 or whatever. So you're talking about from 98 to 2012. So been 15 or so years between titles. So you don't win them all. Coach K won 5, and and you talk about he won the first 2, 91, 92. And then he didn't win again till 01, pardon me. And then he turned around and he won again in 10 and he won again in 15. So it's hard. You don't win them. It's not like we've seen Nick Saban and win 6 in 15 years in football. We've seen Kirby win 2 in a row. That is and then I guess it was 2 in 4 years for Clemson.
Yeah.
It's even harder in basketball because you got to win 6 games in a row. And like I said, Calipari's done a great job. He probably should have had a national title when Bill Self got his first at Memphis, but missed free throws cost him there. But national championships are very difficult to win. Think about the second all-time winningest coach in history, and that's Jim Boeheim, who just retired. He won 1. He probably could have won 3 or 4, but he won 1. It's very difficult to do. The great Tom Izzo, who's been to 8 Final Fours, who pulled off another upset yesterday, knocking out number 2 seed Marquette. He's the last Big Ten coach to win one. Their league hasn't won one since 2000. So a lot of times I think people don't just kind of misunderstand how hard it is to do.
All right, let's get a break in. We are live from Bill Penny Toyota. When we come back, we'll recap everything that happened with Alabama and Auburn on Saturday and continue to get you ready for this year's Sweet 16. Plenty of other surprises along the way. 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. I'm not seeing anything problem-wise this morning. Traffic at a heavy level all across the valley, but right now it looks like it's a fairly smooth ride for you. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
The calendar does read March, and that means it's time for you to enjoy some Talon Heating and Air St. Patty's Day specials. And if utility companies have been taking all the green out of your wallet, Talon Heating and Air, Thomas, has the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow to help you put it back in.
That's right. We have a special right now for all the listeners of this commercial. Get $1,000 off, in addition to excellent savings with the Bosch equipment.
It's Talon Heating and Air St. Patty's Day special, and tell them how they can ring you guys up.
That's right. They can give us a call at 256-503-4490 or at talenthvac.com.
Talon Heating and Air will have you seeing more green this March. And if you're feeling really lucky this March, make sure you join our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bracket Challenge presented by Talon Heating and Air. Maybe they'll have you seeing more green.
The Huntsville Sports Commission is responsible for bringing high-level sports entertainment to the Rocket City. In 2023, enjoy events like the CCSA Beach Volleyball Championships, Hometown Lenders Championship, UCI Paracycling Road World Cup, and so much more. To learn more about upcoming events and the Huntsville Sports Commission, visit huntsvillesports.com. The Huntsville Sports Commission. We do sports.
Now's the time to order your spiral cut honey glazed ham or turkey for Easter from Apple Lane in Decatur. Or maybe consider ordering the family meal deal for Easter. That includes an Apple Lane ham, a dozen rolls, sweet potato dumplings, potato salad, and Apple Lane's award-winning banana pudding. This week you can get your Apple Lane Easter goodness for half price with our zone deal. $50 worth for just $25. Get your zone deal now at 977ESPN.com. Apple Lane on the Beltline in Decatur. You may only use one coupon per purchase. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
With over 100 F-150s to choose from and available financing as low as 0%, now is the perfect time to put one in your driveway. It's Truck Month at Woody Anderson Ford. Hi, Bobby White back again, inviting you to come on in for the best selection of F-150s we've had in a while. And if you find one that you like, there is no payment for 90 days. Also during Truck Month, not only do you get 0% financing for up to 36 months, but we've also got 2.9% financing for 5 years on remaining 22 models with your good credit through Ford Motor Credit. This offer ends April 4th. And don't forget, we make it really easy for you to trade in and trade up on a Ford Blue Advantage Gold Certified or Blue Certified pre-owned vehicle. Great warranties, 24-hour roadside assistance, and you take it home with a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Hurry on in for Truck Month. 0% financing, no payments for 90 days, and over 100 F-150s to choose from. Woody Anderson Ford, hope to see you soon.
Welcome back in. Talking Ball live from Bill Penny Toyota, sitting out here in the service department on a Monday morning. They're open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday. They can service your vehicle, and right now you may need to get that heat checked because it is a little chilly outside. 24 degrees here in 20th of March as everyone comes back from the beach because of spring break and coming back to the cold. 256-576-4977. That's how you can be a part of the show this morning. Wolverine Dan with us. Good morning, sir.
Well, I was on the first page going into the Indiana game, but I think it threw me off, and I think I'm on the probably second or third page. So I'm pleased with the performances. I still have 3 of the 4 left. Questions. Well, first off, Alabama looks really good. I mean, wow. I don't know what to say about that. It very well could happen. The question I have for you is that now this is the Sweet 16 round, and it's all being played in Louisville?
Yes, in the South region it is.
Okay. And so after this Sweet 16, the Elite Eight goes to where?
Houston.
No, well, that's the Final Four.
They'll play two there in Louisville.
Yeah,
they'll play two in Louisville, and
then
then the winner of that region will go to Houston for the Final
Correct.
Four.
Yep.
Right. Okay, all right. So everything's going to be in Houston then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, right now, it helps the SEC teams. I'll say that. It helps. To what extreme? Maybe not a lot, just because, Tennessee is very physical. Alabama just playing from head to toe, playing really, really good ball. So, but being in Birmingham didn't hurt any of the SEC teams, correct?
No, I mean, it didn't. It was definitely to Alabama's advantage, and then Auburn had a great crowd, too. They played well against Houston, but it certainly didn't help Auburn when Houston came out pissed off and played like, a Final Four team in the second half. I mean, to be there live and watch how good Houston is with the eye test and to watch them play the way they did against Auburn, who Auburn played, I'd say, I'd like to ask Bruce Pearl this, but probably one of their top 2 to 3 first halves of the year.
Yeah, they looked good in that first half. They were doing things that they wanted to do in the first half.
It was 41-31 at halftime. They dropped 41 on a really good defensive team at Houston,
who only had been giving up 56 points a game.
Yeah, and then Houston outscored them 50-23 and came out like Mike Tyson in his prime, and then just looked like a national championship contending team. And Auburn just couldn't make a free throw. I mean, it became almost
19 of
mental.
36 from the free throw line was Auburn in that ball game.
Yeah, and Jonah Broome was 6 of 16.
Well, defensively, I mean, Auburn played extremely well, I thought. And actually, I mean, Tennessee does also, but in a heck of a lot big boy basketball, real rough. I mean, man, I tell you what, I don't know if I was watching a boxing match or a basketball game. But hey, they're getting away with it, and the refs make some of those calls, but some of those you get away with, and it benefits your team. So. That bracket is totally toast for me. I mean, I had Duke, but I thought Duke would have played a little bit better than that. But I think can that hold well for Tennessee? You think that physical aspect of their game in the tournament? How far can they go with that?
If the referees let them play that way,
it depends on how they call it. I mean, Tennessee's got a good matchup in the Garden with FAU. FAU's a smaller team, but they're very athletic. But Tennessee should have a chance to grind them a little bit. But, I mean, FAU still got a shot. I mean, they're a very, very good team under Dusty May, but they're a little bit small. Tennessee's big. If you see Tennessee up close and live in person, they are tremendously physical and impressive physically. When you talk about Vescovi and who's played seems like 8 years, and you talk about Plavsic. Plavsic is, I called him, when I was in Nashville seeing him live, I called him the Great Wall of Vol because he is so big. So they'll have a huge size advantage over FAU. FAU is going to have to speed it up and turn Tennessee over and hope Tennessee doesn't have a good shooting game. But I still think Tennessee's talent and physicality could take over there. I think they've got a good matchup. I think Alabama, they're going to have to shoot it well too. And San Diego State nobody should overlook them because I know they're from the Mountain West Conference, but they are probably going to be up there with Tennessee and Houston as one of the 3 best defensive teams Alabama's seen. Now, San Diego State only has 1 double-figure scorer, so Alabama has got a chance to defend well in their own right and rebound, and that's going to be the key. Alabama's got to defend and rebound against San Diego State, and if the shots fall, then Alabama's got a good shot.
Wolverine Dan, thanks for the phone call. Let's go to Jeff from the Borough. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning, Jeff.
How you doing, guys?
Good.
I just want to say I couldn't believe Duke either. They must be a real young ball club, is all I got to say. They must be real young, because I could not believe Tennessee beat them as bad as they beat them. I could not believe it. And Florida Atlantic's really good. It's because they're in Conference USA. That's what it is. They're small. You stay down. You stay low. Don't you get big. They're 33-3. Okay? They're really good. They ain't just a little bit good. They're real good. And I'm wondering about Matt Painter. Is he on the hot seat? They want to hear from you. Scott, your comments. I believe St. Peter's beat him last year, and now he loses to a 16. 15 and 16. Is Matt Painter on the hot seat at West Lafayette?
Well, I mean, look, obviously his postseason success is disappointing. I mean, it is. It's flat out embarrassing and disappointing if you're Purdue. I mean, it is. And look, I'm feeling the same way. I mean, Fran McCaffrey at Iowa's postseason success has been disappointing. Is it time for a change? I would say.
What about Mizzou's time for a change? 15. Little Princeton beat them, baby. Ivy League comments. It's time for a change. Well, Missouri had a great season, didn't they? Dang. They had a great season, baby. The Ivy League beat them. So is it time for a change in Missouri? I think Matt Painter won't get raked over no coals. I can tell you right now.
Matt Painter's getting raked over the coals. I mean, he's getting raked over the coals. But let me ask you this, though. Is the expectations at Kentucky different than the expectations at Missouri?
Well, I hope so. I hope the heck it is.
Okay, then. So then that's why we sit here and we sit there and we ask about John Calipari, is because when we talk about Kentucky, we talk about the expectations being higher.
All the fans that got on social media last night slamming Calipari, they can go root for another team, pal. They ain't got to root for Kentucky no more. They can go root for Vanderbilt or Ole Miss. They can jump off of them. Because Calipari's not going nowhere, and you two know it. Don't give me this stuff. He's not going anywhere. He's got a huge buyout. He ain't going. Nobody's going to buy him out, and you two know it. He's not going anyplace. Okay, and always Texas A&M got up, didn't they? They couldn't do nothing. Okay, what about also Drew? What about UAB Wednesday night? They want to come over here and beat Vanderbilt? Is Jelly Walker going to have 35? Want to hear from you? Have a comment. Have a nice day.
Well, I want to hear from Jeff because he said Alabama wasn't going to beat West Virginia, and West Virginia didn't get out of the first round. I mean, and look at it, and he needs a hearing aid or something because I just got through saying John Calipari wasn't going anywhere, and
I'm not saying he's not going anywhere. Yeah, I'm just talking about the expectations around the postseason for Kentucky. I mean, certainly the last 3 years have been disappointed. They've been disappointing.
I mean, he's put out more pros than anyone. Jeff, the one thing I will agree with what he said, he's got a $50 million buyout. He's not going anywhere. The only way it would be if he left for a Texas. But the more games Rodney Terry wins, the more chances he could end up getting that job. Now, more than likely he won't, but you never know. So again, and then it's interesting. Steve Lutz, who his Texas A&M Corpus Christi team took on Alabama, he's already gone to Western Kentucky. So he's replacing Rick Stansberry. So, that the coaching carousel, we're going to find out by Wednesday if Rick Pitino is going to St. John's. Today we could find out if Ed Cooley is going to Georgetown. That seems to be in the wind. So there's going to, the coaching carousel is going to start moving. But do I think Matt Painter is going to get criticized? Yes. Do I think he's going to get fired? No. Look at Tony Bennett. We hadn't even mentioned Tony Bennett. He did win a national championship in 2019, but he's had 3 early exits in between including losing to Furman, so in heartbreaking fashion. But he's still an outstanding coach. The tournament is hard. I mean, it really is. And, I got blocked by Stuart Mandel, and I wear that with a badge of honor now. The libtard from Sports Illustrated who blocked me because he made an asinine comment. He deleted it and then kind of rephrased it. But he said that the tournament was becoming watered down because for the second time in like 5 years we've had a 16 beat a 1. But I don't think it's watered down. I think it's just a tremendous tournament. I don't think you should say he was more going for the elitist part. And what I pointed out was this same fool tried to get college football canceled during 2020, and he blocked me for it. I didn't call him a name. I just said, remember, S.I. Mandel tried to get college football canceled, and he blocked me because he knows I'm right.
So Purdue has lost to a double-digit seed in 3 straight NCAA tournaments. Virginia has lost to a double-digit seed in 3 of its last 4 NCAA tournaments. And Arizona has lost to a double-digit seed in 4 of its last 5 NCAA tournaments.
Well, and I know he passed away recently in the last few years, and he had been retired for quite a while. But before he won it all in '97, Lute Olson got criticized a lot.
Yeah,
because he didn't win the national championship, and then he beat Kentucky.
Yep.
It was kind of like Jim Boeheim, and it was the only one that Lute got. Because they're very hard to win, man. It's just I've said this before many times. one of the hardest things to do in sports is to win the national championship in college on the Division I level, because you've got to win 6 in a row. John Calipari's only won it one time, even with all the talent. And don't forget, he had the Memphis team, and we didn't even mention the 96 team at UMass that was really good, and they got beat in the semifinals. He got UMass to the Final Four. So it's just hard to win a national championship, man. And Calipari's built a beast. At Kentucky, Joe B. Hall, who's revered, he was almost fired before he won it in 78. There was so much pressure on him. Kentucky's a different animal, but again, I think they're going to be back.
All right, let's get a break in. We got to get a break in. When we come back, we'll talk about the SEC and the Big East, both having great tournament success here so far.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect another cold afternoon across the Tennessee Valley. High temperature is going to be topping out in the low 50s for the afternoon, but we will be seeing plenty of sunshine heading into your Monday night. Temperatures expected to bottom out in the low 30s for the overnight, and you can expect to see a mostly clear sky. It looks like rain returns back to the forecast on Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN. The Zone.
We are still working with a clean slate this morning. Not much to the ride in. Just be careful. Put you some extra room in there so you do have somewhere to go if something goes wrong around you, and you're going to need a couple of minutes to warm that vehicle up this morning. You could fly Breeze nonstop to Orlando, Las Vegas, or Tampa for $49 and up. What are you waiting for? You could book today at flybreeze.com. Seriously nice. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
All across the nation, we are here for our communities.
We're doing our part to get supplies where it's needed in order to fight COVID-19 together.
Got to do what we got to do, helping the people that did lose their jobs and lost their income, and now they don't have money for their food.
It feels good to be out there to assist our community with what we're dealing with. It's what you sign up for as a soldier.
We will not rest until the mission is complete.
Each one of these soldiers, once they received the call, they understood that all hands were on deck. This goes to the core of what citizen soldiers do.
We are your Army National Guard.
I would like our friends and family to know that your National Guardsmen are always ready and always there.
Always ready, always there. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is an Alabama legacy moment.
Born Henry Louis Aaron on February 5, 1934 in Mobile, baseball icon Hank Aaron first honed his baseball skills while growing up in Alabama. He is best known for breaking Babe Ruth's record of 714 home runs, ultimately hitting 755, a record that stood from 1974 to 2007. During his career, Aaron was a member of the Milwaukee and then Atlanta Braves for 21 seasons and made the National League All-Star team every year from 1955 to 1974. He won 3 Gold Glove Awards for outfield, and his lifetime records for most runs batted in and most extra base hits still stand. Aaron was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1982 with 97.8% of the votes cast. In 2002, he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor.
Sponsored by the Alabama Bicentennial Commission, the ABA, and this station.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Listen weekday afternoons starting at 5 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's perfect!
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, and across America right now, a lot of people that love to put a little dollar down on some of the games last night are feeling kind of broken because TCU cost a lot of people a lot of money last night. I don't know if you saw this. With 0.7 seconds left last night, TCU just threw up a long 3, and it goes in. They weren't going to win, but what it did is it gave the Horned Frogs a backdoor cover, and the spread was now 3. The TCU was a plus 4.5 going in, And with the win, or with the 3 there, it put them into 3. So a lot of people lost a lot of money last night there on that shot. 256-576-4977. Let's go out to the phone lines. Jay's with us. Good morning, Jay.
Morning, guys. How are y'all this morning?
Good, Jay. How are you, bud?
Doing good. Drew, did the Auburn fans take Coach Willard's advice and hang around since there wasn't else to do in Birmingham?
There was a few. I saw a couple behind me on press row. I had a really good vantage point and seat, but I did see a couple at the end of the game. I think most of them left right after the game ended, and it was a tough ending. I think Bruce probably got the most out of that group that he could, and like I said, they played a really good first half, but that Houston team, they played with a sense of urgency. They came out of the locker room knowing that their season was on the line, and they certainly played like it, and it was amazing that they did a lot of it without Sasser because he got his 4th foul and had to sit the bench, but Tremont Mark was unbelievable, the lefty. He really hurt Auburn a lot, and Sheed was on the bench some too. So it was really a testament to Houston's roster and their style of play. And, they are just animals on the glass. They just went to the offensive glass, got some second and third opportunities. And then, as Scott already pointed out, Auburn just couldn't buy a free throw. Auburn got to the line enough. If they had converted, Jay, 80% of their free throws, they would have had a chance in the last 4 or 5 minutes to stay and be there to win the game, but they just could not convert.
Would have kept a lead. Even early on, they kept missing those free throws. And Charles Barkley even said after the game in there on the set that Bruce got the most out of this Auburn team, and that really losing to Houston like they did, or just losing in that round. This Auburn team lost a lot from last year, a lot to replace, and the way that, for 20 minutes they gave Houston all they could handle, and then Houston finally stepped up and played like a number 1 seed and really put Auburn behind the 8 ball and forced Auburn to do a lot of things that Auburn wasn't able to. Auburn wasn't going to be able to come back once they got down because they had to play a different way, and Houston had changed the momentum of that game.
And just think of the home court advantage Houston will have if they make it to the Final Four.
Yeah, that's the thing. They were talking about the fact that Auburn had home court edge there in Birmingham.
And
if Houston gets to the Final Four, that's going to be the ultimate. I don't think we've had a team play as close to home as what we've seen with Butler. Remember when Butler got to the Final Four in Indianapolis? I think that's probably the closest we have seen a team play close to home, I think, if my memory serves me correct.
Drew, I know Brett sent me a picture of him and Bill Raftery. Brett wasn't hounding him, was it, before the game?
No, I took a picture with Coach Raft too, man. He's a great guy. This was in between games. And they took a lot of pictures with folks. A lot of folks were coming to the railing in the stands and talking to those folks. And Jim Nance was very friendly with a lot of the crowd. I chatted briefly with Grant Hill as well. Always wanted to meet Grant, great guy. And, luckily with Press Row, the way they set it up in Birmingham, it was a lot like what they do for the high school, but just slightly different. We were able to, Brett Beard and I were basically just adjacent to the right of the CBS broadcast crew and the rest of and we were behind one of the national radio crews. Stephen Bardo, former DePaul standout, was doing the color, so that's where we were seated. But we were very fortunate. Matter of fact, I was getting some text during the game, Jay. People were like, "Man, you getting some airtime?" Because on my left was Wimp Sanderson, so Coach Sanderson sat next to me for the Auburn game. He moved down a seat for a member of the media covering the Maryland Terrapins for that game against Alabama. But yeah, it was a great atmosphere. It was a neat experience. I'd never covered the NCAA tournament before, so very interesting, and it was great to see that the state of Alabama turn out for Alabama and Auburn. They control the arenas now. Both games right, to our right in the stands, we had the Texas A&M Corpus Christi fans and the Maryland fans that traveled to support their team against Alabama. But still, it was a definite 90% or whatever for Alabama and for Auburn when they played.
Yeah.
And Friday's matchup with San Diego State, it's going to take going to take no foul trouble and less turnovers to beat those guys because they are tough. They play real good defense, and we just got to keep our poise and play good ball.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Brian Dutcher's an outstanding coach, and he learned under Steve Fisher. He was with Fisher for many, many years, and Fisher's a Hall of Famer, won a national championship when he inherited that roster from Bill Frieder in 1989, and they had Kawhi Leonard during their time at San Diego State. And don't forget, Brian Dutcher recruited the Fab Five, so he's been around. He's got a lot of talented players on his team now, and they're a very tough team. I always tell people, when you get to the Sweet 16, throw out the seeds. Don't worry about what somebody's seeded because they've earned their way there.
Yeah.
You're playing it's the 16 best teams in the country right now that are playing the best basketball, so you've got to be sharp and be ready to go.
Guys, y'all have a great rest of the week. We'll talk to you soon.
All right,
yes,
thanks,
sir.
Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You look at this, and
yeah,
it's kind of when you put that in perspective. I mean, you look at what Bill Frieder did there at San Diego State, revitalizing that program, not getting it back, but putting it on a national map there for San Diego State. And then you mentioned that they turn it over to his longtime assistant, and he has picked it back up for San Diego State. Kept it going, really, at a high level. 7:42, let's get a break in. When we come back, going to wrap up hour one. 256-576-4977. Those are the phone lines to join us.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Wendy's 2 for $6 lets you mix and match some of our best items, like Dave Single with a 10-piece crispy nugs, medium strawberry lemonade with a spicy chicken sandwich, spicy chicken with a Dave Single with a strawberry lemonade, if you're into that. Chicken Sam, crispy nugs, strawberry lemonade, Dave's, nugs, Sam. Whew. Pick what you want at a price you want. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $6.
For a limited time, price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's. On the card only. Single item at regular price.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
picked up a wreck on Monroe Road at Commissioner Drive. They reported it with injuries, but it looks like they've canceled everybody on it now. University westbound east of Jordan came in as a no injury. Mitchell Loop and Gatlin Road, sounds like that may be in Limestone County. That one also reported as a no injury. You could lose up to 4 sizes in 4 weeks with the 2030 Fast Track Weight Loss Program. Find out more at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Now's the time to order your spiral cut honey glazed ham or turkey for Easter from Apple Lane in Decatur. Or maybe consider ordering the family meal deal for Easter that includes an Apple Lane ham, a dozen rolls, sweet potato dumplings, potato salad, and Apple Lane's award-winning banana pudding. If you're hosting a corporate event or just a group of friends, Apple Lane has you covered. They have all kinds of box lunch and party tray options. To order for Easter or anytime, log on applelanefarms.com. Apple Lane on the Beltline in Decatur.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
And now, a man who knows what you ate for breakfast.
Time now for the biggest thinker of them all.
He knows it all. He is Drew DeArmond. Listen to Drew and Scott Theisen weekday mornings. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you live from Bill Penny Toyota, sitting out here in the service department. And we talked about surprises from over the weekend. We've ran down Alabama, we've ran down Auburn. But I know we talk about Tennessee getting past Duke. Duke had come in playing really good basketball, ACC tournament champions. They were feeling really good, but Tennessee came out and made good work there. But is the biggest surprise of the weekend from an SEC standpoint coming from Arkansas?
You could say that. I mean, but when we talked to Otis Kirk last week on the show, I mean, I struggled between that matchup with Illinois, and I decided to take Arkansas. And like Otis said, but if they beat Illinois, they might beat Kansas. And we were like, yeah, agreed. I mean, it didn't shock me at all.
Right.
I'll just say that because Kansas suffered an injury at the point guard position during the game as well, which didn't help things. We know about Bill Self's health situation. He wasn't there. I'm sure that played a factor. But Arkansas has players. Now, the one thing that did surprise me, if you had told me that Arkansas was going to have a good weekend and win 2 games and get back to the Sweet 16 for the 3rd year in a row under Eric Musselman, is they did it without Nick Smith playing well. I mean,
I thought you were going to say Eric Musselman taking his shirt off and dancing on the court.
We know that's going to happen, but I'm just saying that Nick Smith did not play like a first-round pick.
Right.
I would have thought, okay, Arkansas is in trouble. But Debo Davis was tremendous. He had 21 of his 25 in the second half for Arkansas in that game against Kansas. Now, he fouled out with just under 2 minutes to go, which wasn't ideal for the Razorbacks. But they were able to navigate that. Black got a little banged up too. But Ricky Council made some big plays, including a huge offensive rebound and making some free throws down the stretch. And basically, Arkansas was just able to outlast Kansas. Now, if it had gotten to overtime, I think Arkansas was in trouble. But they were able to make the free throws down the stretch to get the win, and tremendous win for Eric Musselman in Arkansas. Wow, man, that's going to be quite a regional down there, because I believe Arkansas has got UConn next, and that's going to be some good stuff. I mean, UConn and Dan Hurley, I saw them against Alabama in Portland earlier in the year. They were playing exceptional basketball. They went through a little bit of a rough patch during conference play in the Big East, but now they have things figured out. And
weren't they ranked number one at one point in the year? Weren't they one of the teams
conference play? Yeah, they did. They got up there, and then they fell down to the lower regions, even out of the top 25 for a brief period, and that's why they're a 4 seed. But they have national championship caliber talent, and Rick Pitino pointed that out after they routed the Iona Gales in the round of 64. And then once again, they won in a rout in the round of 32. So, UConn right now is a really good basketball team playing at a very high level, and so that game with Arkansas is going to be very, very intriguing.
All right, so the SEC gets 3 teams into the Sweet 16. The Big East, by the way, is having its best run in an NCAA tournament since the conference kind of reconfigured.
Yeah,
they are 7-2 and sending 3 teams into the Sweet 16 for the first time in its current makeup.
That was
the Big East had a good weekend.
Yeah, it was one of my biggest wins yesterday. I had picked Creighton over Baylor. I just felt like I'd seen Baylor earlier in the year, good guards, not maybe quite as good as inside as they were when they won it all back in 20. And I had seen Arkansas almost beat them in Waco earlier in the year. Now, a lot of it's how you're playing now. But I just felt like Creighton was a top 10 team in the preseason, Scott. They were supposed to be better than UConn.
Yeah.
But they've hit their stride, and they're playing a lot better, and they're shooting it a lot better. And I believe they were 11 for 24 from 3 yesterday. And so they shot it, and they've got a 7-footer inside who's a rim protector. They play a lot like Alabama. And so Creighton, I thought, was a difficult matchup for Baylor, and that's what it turned into. And Creighton and Greg McDermott, who you're very familiar with, he's a veteran coach. So he's made runs with Northern Iowa. He's made runs with Creighton. So he's a guy that's a really good coach.
And you know what? And you look at him, he had a disastrous tenure at Iowa State. I mean, that guy, he forgot how to coach when he got to Iowa State. He could not win a ball game, and he had great success at Northern Iowa, gets to Iowa State, and just literally fell apart. And then goes to Creighton, and he's right back to
It's about
winning.
Fit, man.
Yeah.
Think about Anthony Grant. He's done a very solid job at Dayton. He was horrendous at Alabama by the time it ended.
He had success.
Yeah, he was really good at VCU before that.
Yeah.
Now, he got to Alabama to one NCAA tournament in 6 years, but by the time that he left Alabama's program, the recruiting had bottomed out. His style of play was not popular at all. I called it Coleman Mausoleum for a reason, because you could throw like something into the stands and not hit anyone. There was nobody in the stands. He just was a bad fit, but now he's at his alma mater at Dayton doing a solid job. And remember, the year that that COVID canceled the tournament, I think Dayton was going to be a 1 or a 2 seed. He had a great team. He had Obi Toppin, Jacob Toppin's brother, and so had his best team. So, and then they nearly made the NCAA tournament this year. So a lot of times, and it's what you're referencing with Greg McDermott, it's about fit, and he fits at Creighton, and he certainly. And remember, before that, they had Dana Altman. Creighton has had some really good coaches there. But again, Greg McDermott didn't fit at Iowa State, but certainly does at Creighton.
When you look at a lot of those Sweet 16 coaches, I mean, some of them are in their mall. I mean, Kelvin Sampson, if barring NCAA stuff, I mean, Kelvin Sampson got in trouble at Indiana because of that. Mm-hmm. Fortunate to get another chance there with Houston, but had a decent run there at Oklahoma. Then you have Princeton. By the way, did you see the Princeton they put this celebration up after Princeton had won and advanced to the Sweet 16. They showed the school library, and it was packed with just kids studying there at Princeton after their Sweet 16. All right, Brandon's with us. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning, Brandon.
Morning. Javon Quinterly made the comment that people laughed at him when he transferred to Alabama.
Yeah.
They ain't laughing no more.
No, I mean, Alabama's on quite a run. They've got a difficult matchup with San Diego State, certainly a tough physical team, but I think the advantage for Alabama, too, is they get 5 days to prepare for it, and you don't have to play them with 1 day of preparation. So I think that'll help Alabama.
Well, I see that Auburn needed the Heimlich for the 32 as well. It would have been nice to have got 4 teams in the round of the Sweet 16, but they couldn't hold on. That plays for the wheelchair league for the men. Yeah. I got to see him sit on top of the rim up there in Wisconsin and celebrate their championship. And
yeah, it was a great weekend for Alabama basketball, no doubt about it. The men and the women win the adaptive national championships in the wheelchair basketball. Then they're both powerhouses. They win both of them. I think that's Brandon. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's the first time they've won them both in the same year. But they win them both in the men's program. Ends up in the Sweet 16. The women unfortunately lost in the first round against Baylor, but it was still a great weekend.
I mean, it was, and the amount of money that Alabama has put into adaptive athletics it's actually mind-boggling. That Strand Harden Arena, everything they've got, it just goes to show what you can do when you support something, and you're never as big as the things that you do for people that are bigger than you, but you're always as big as the things that you do to the people that are the least of you. And the amount of money they put into that program to support those people just hats off.
All right, Brandon, thanks for the phone call.
Agree.
By the way, if you're keeping track at home, the Big Ten, by the way, since 2021 has gotten 25 bids into the NCAA tournament. Their second weekend appearances, 4. The Big Ten has been yet another disappointing run in an NCAA tournament. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll recap Alabama's weekend inside the BJCC. And it's Monday. It may be 25 degrees outside, but the Giants starting spring football today. We'll look ahead to that as well.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The men's Sweet 16 is set. Odds to win the national championship heading into the next round. Alabama, the leader, plus 375. Houston's plus 400. UCLA plus 950. Connecticut and Texas both plus 1,000. Creighton and Gonzaga plus 1,200. The tallest bet, Princeton, a plus $17,000 bet to win it all. Tennessee, the favorite to win the East, plus 500. Alabama, plus 200 to win the South. Houston, plus 135 in the Midwest. UCLA, plus 350 in the West. Sweet 16 action is this Thursday and Friday.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It's hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We are live once again From the service department here inside Bill Penny Toyota on a cold start to your week. Welcome back from spring break. Welcome back to the beach. From the beach, you get that Arctic blast, 26 degrees right now as you jump-start hour 2 here of Talking Ball. And the Tide jump-started a second-half run against Maryland on Saturday inside the BJCC, a run that propelled them. Maryland, it was kind of, I don't want to say sloppy game, but it was an interesting first half, to say the least, for that Alabama-Maryland game.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things. It was a grind early. Alabama didn't take the lead until 15-14. It went well into the first half. I mean, it was one of those starts where Maryland made their first 4 shots. It was 9-2. They got off to the start they wanted to. Alabama had to play from behind, and once Mark Sears, it's a little past the halfway point of the first half, made that jump shot to put Alabama at 15-14. Alabama methodically started pulling away. They led 28-23 at half, and then came out and put the game away. Maryland just had trouble scoring. They didn't with Julian Reese getting in foul trouble. That really kind of limited them inside, and Alabama was able to just basically take control of the game with Brandon Miller, who went from no points in game 1 to 19 and 7 in the second game, and then 22 from March Javon, as we call him, March JQ, Javon Quinterly. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the beginning of spring practice with our next guest, and he's been the senior analyst since 2003 for BamaOnline.com. Also, part of the 24/7 Sports Network, SEC Second Helping with our good friend Brent Beard, daily podcast, and then Talkin' Tide with the Tuscaloosa News, Chase Goodbread, and that's Travis Ryer. Travis, hope you had a great weekend. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're good, man, no doubt. I know you had a chance to see your daughter there in Hawaii, competed in the NCAAs against LSU. But certainly that was good for those young ladies to make the NCAA tournament. But we're talking March Madness on the men's side. Alabama, 2 methodical wins. They played well offensively in game 1 against Texas A&M Corpus Christi, even without Brandon Miller being much of a factor offensively. And then the second game, and I posed this question to Nate Oates. I think it'll be beneficial, the style of play Maryland used that San Diego State will. Now, San Diego State's probably going to be a little more physical, but Alabama 73-51, not a great offensive performance, but the defense and the rebounding I thought were really good in both games this weekend.
Yeah, you look at the teams that are really still in this thing heading into the Sweet 16, the potential for grinders is still very much out there, starting with San Diego State, perhaps even looking ahead to Houston with all the potential rematch scenarios that are still in play for Alabama, Michigan State, UConn, Tennessee, a lot of teams that are very comfortable with that style of play and put a lot on the officials to make calls, and if officials aren't really going to blow the whistle a lot in those type of matchups, you're going to have to be able to win a game in the 60s or something in that neighborhood. So, yeah, I agree. Not the worst thing for Alabama to experience that. And I thought once again, they showed that they're capable at least of winning that type of matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, you get into this tournament and there's so many different styles that you have to play, and you take those styles and you take as the tournament as a whole, and you take how the referees are going to call it, because it's not the same, and you have to be able to adapt. And Alabama has shown through 2 games in this tournament that they have the ability to adapt to whatever style is being played, and however it's going to be called. Alabama can adjust, and that's a credit to Nate Oates, though, too, for making adjustments during timeouts and halftime.
Also building his roster in a way in which he has that versatility, because they have been kind of one-dimensional in the past. Last year I thought that was a prime example of that. But, if a team defensively wants to run Alabama off the three-point line, you're going to have to be able to finish in the paint, finish through contact, and make your free throws. And I thought that was a big difference in the game against Maryland. They were very good on the glass. Really got to work on the backboards and second chance points, and also defending against second chance points and points off turnovers. Just because you're able to turn Alabama over or maybe get on the offensive glass, you're not guaranteed a bucket off of those opportunities by any means with the way this team gets after you defensively. And then, conversely, Alabama, I think, was plus 12 in second chance points in the game against Maryland. So get to the free throw line at a pretty high clip and convert those opportunities on extended possessions. And this team can be as tough to beat in that scenario as it is when it's making its threes.
Mm-hmm. And then once again, and I asked this of Nate Oates, though, I know his stat line wasn't tremendous from a points perspective this weekend, but I thought at key times, once again, and this is what you have to advance this time of year, Travis, but I thought Noah Gurley made clutch plays on both ends of the floor.
He did. Veteran presence is never a bad thing this time of year. Credit to him for staying engaged. That's where maturity really shows up. Younger players, they go through a 5 or 6 game stretch like he did down the stretch of the regular season. They can become disenchanted a little bit and not happy with their role, but he maintained that level of engagement. And then when he had his opportunity in Nashville, showed up big and continuing to be rewarded for that.
Mm-hmm. And then, as we said, too, Alabama was able to shoot the ball really well at a high clip and make, I believe, 15 threes against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I believe they were only 6 for 21 against Maryland now, but San Diego State's going to be a little bit of a different animal. They're probably going to be very similar to Tennessee, which gave Alabama some problems. They're very physical like Houston. Now, they're not a great offensive team at times, Travis, but your thoughts initially on the matchup with Brian Dutcher's team at San Diego State?
Yeah, an athletic team, too. Absolutely. I think that they're going to feel like they can guard the basketball well enough that they're not going to give up uncontested looks from three. So it's going to be another one of those kind of games where you're going to have to win off the dribble, win in the screen and roll game, and hit the backboards and make your free throws, because it does have the look of another one of those kind of games. And, you said it. Similar to some of the teams that we've seen Alabama struggle with in the past, it's an opportunity for Alabama to not only show that it can continue to improve offensively, but that defense can win games for them. It's done it in the past, and it may very well need to do in the round of 16 in Louisville.
Yeah, and it's just a short drive, 4 hours for us here in Huntsville. Up to Louisville. San Diego State coming a lot further away. But boy, they can and will present a challenge, I think, for Alabama.
Yeah, I agree. It hadn't been a great year, great tournament for the Mountain West. I guess Nevada went out early, but this is a team that you talk about mid-majors. They don't ring that bell necessarily when you watch San Diego State, really, since Steve Fisher was there.
Yeah.
I guess initially in the turnaround they've made, and I've been out there, and they've got a great setup, as you would expect, but a great arena there. They take it very serious. I think people hear the name San Diego State, and they don't think college basketball, but it's kind of their thing. So it'll be a tough matchup, and you look at this region and what's left of it, and you think, wow, the table is set for Alabama to sort of coast on to Houston. But I got a feeling that at least one of these at the Yum Yum Center is going to be tough for sure.
No, there's no doubt about it. And you could say that San Diego State in the past, decade has been the most consistent West Coast program next to Gonzaga.
Yeah, I agree. And neither one of those are Power 5 conferences that they come from. The West Coast Conference, you saw it with St. Mary's. A really good team this year to go along with Gonzaga. And the Mountain West, traditionally, Eric Musselman, prior to Arkansas, where was he? Nevada in the Mountain West. So they play good basketball out there. I think it's, as you said, it's not as exposed, obviously, as much. And just being in that part of the country is tough enough as it is on Pacific Coast time. Even for programs in the Pac-12, they battle that. But this is the type of program that I think sneaks up on fans more than it does coaches like Nate Oates.
Mm-hmm. And so it'll be interesting. But and Travis, before we delve into a little bit of spring football, in your mind as you have started, and I know you'll have a feature later this week about your 3 predictions, but what is going to be the key to beating San Diego State?
I think it's still going to be Alabama's defense. I think the matchup that you're going to hear about is Alabama's offense going against a San Diego State defense that is top 5 in adjusted defensive ranking according to KenPom. And Alabama, though, is 3rd. So, that's, I think, what it's going to come down to. San Diego State can obviously do a very nice job on that end of the floor, even against a potent offensive team like Alabama that comes in averaging over 80 points per game. But I think you said it earlier, too. Is San Diego State going to be able to score enough? I don't think Alabama is totally crestfallen if this thing gets into a grinder or a rock fight of sorts that's in the 60s. I think they can win those kind of games. I think maybe the bigger question is going to be, can San Diego State score enough? Can San Diego State rebound enough to get over the hump against Alabama?
Boy, it's kind of funny. We're talking about Alabama basketball and the Sweet 16, and this team has the potential to get to the Final Four and the run to Houston. And I don't want to say it, but, it kind of puts spring football on a second page. Usually spring football at this point, we're putting it on the front page headlines, and it's, you got a quarterback battle. You got all this other stuff going on. And Travis, everyone in Crimson is consumed with basketball, but spring practice does start today.
Yeah, it really is unlike anything we've experienced in the Nick Saban era with, basketball on this run. And I guess it was similar a couple of years ago, but not to this extent, I don't think. And there have been years where obviously Alabama has started spring practice on that Friday before spring break, and that didn't even happen this time around. And I haven't really heard much about that, but. Yeah, we will hear from Nick Saban after practice tonight. That's usually a heavily anticipated appearance for Nick, but and certainly, and this is going to be a big day for Alabama fans, and what he has to say post practice, especially as you said, where the quarterbacks are concerned, but also all the newcomers. Not just freshmen either, but a couple of 4-year transfers coming in, and Trez Marshall from Georgia at linebacker, and C.J. Dupre at tight end from Maryland. You got a couple of JUCOs in that mix with Malik Benson and Justin Jefferson. So this roster overhaul that no team is really immune from these days, including Alabama, you got like 26 newcomers that are going to be practicing for the first time, or one of the first times. I guess some of these guys were around for bowl practice, but yeah, it's not just the quarterback situation. There's newcomers, there's new coaches, new coordinators, and plenty of storylines for sure.
And these 2 JUCOs, I know you mentioned them, Malik Benson and Justin Jefferson. The more you hear the buzz and put your ear to the ground, these are guys that I think they expect a challenge to, and of course, whenever you sign a junior college player, you want them to have an impact. But these guys, I think, are going to be counted on to potentially start at Alabama and play big roles.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Justin Jefferson, has the look of a textbook off-the-ball linebacker. So if you want to play Deontay Lawson at the mic and have him run the show with Henry To'oTo'o moving on, you're going to have that opportunity. He's going to help provide you with some of that, I would think. Trez Marshall coming in from Georgia, I think, is a guy they're viewing in that sort of lens as well, although I think he can play either position. I like that Trez Marshall is about 2 years removed from that knee injury he sustained at Georgia, so you should be getting the best version physically of this guy in really the last 3 or 4 years. He's a veteran, too. He's been around, so the carryover should be there coming from Georgia to Alabama. And Benson is, by his tape anyway, he's a true outside explosive playmaker. And Jermaine Burton and Ja'Cory Brooks can obviously give you some of that, but it's one thing to be sort of a occasional contributor in that regard. it's another thing that down in and down out, you've got a guy like Benson that the defense has to account for over the top and in the intermediate game as well. So interested to hear how he gets off to his spring football start. And he's not the only newcomer at wide receiver either. I mean, you've got Hale coming in from the high school level and a couple of 3 other newcomers to go along with Burton and Brooks. And, so these quarterbacks in this competition, they're going to have some nice targets to work with.
And your thoughts on the quarterback battle, Travis?
Yeah, I think patience is going to be required for everybody involved.
Yeah.
I think if you're one of these quarterbacks, you got to understand I can't go out and win the job on day one. There's the process that we talk about so much in so many different areas of sports and day-to-day life these days, but it's true. You got to just go out and stack workouts, because they do chart everything, but at the same time, you can't press to the extent where you're struggling in individual drills, let alone teamwork and maybe scrimmages. So I'm as interested as everyone else. I'm interested to see how Tommy Rees is going to use these guys. I think there's a sense that there's going to be more tight end centric formations. I don't doubt that will be the case to an extent. I'm not to the point where I'm expecting 3 tight ends on the field, down in and down out. I think there's still going to be 11 personnel with 3 wide receivers. And because of that, I think ultimately it'll still come down to which of these guys can involve the options they have around them the best. Not just the running backs, not just the tight ends, but the wide receivers as well. And I think that it goes back to passing acumen. And, which of these guys allows Reese to have full access to the playbook, down in and down out. I think ultimately that's going to determine your winner.
Well, great stuff, Travis, as always. We look forward to BamaOnline.com's full coverage this week. Huge basketball week for Alabama and football. As you said, we'll hear from Nick Saban later today. Let everybody know how to follow you.
Just go to BamaOnline.com or Alabama.247sports.com. Either way will get you to us.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Let's get a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about spring football and what to look ahead to. It's Talking Ball live from Bill Penny Toyota, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. Got a wreck at McKee Road and Bridges Road in Limestone County. Apparently that one's going to be a no injury. Already got one at Mitchell Loop in Gatlin that reported as a no injury. University westbound east of Jordan, not much to it. It's in a turn lane. And Monroe Road and Commissioner Drive reported as an injury type, but they've completely cleared it now. Snelling places admin, accounting, and medical professionals daily. Need a job or maybe an employee? Snelling can help. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Humphreys has a brand new team to take care of downtown Huntsville and a new menu to go with it. Check out Humphreys' new small plates like fried Brussels sprouts and fried green tomatoes, new street tacos, and the best pork chop in town. Not to mention shareable desserts made by our own pastry chef at the bottle. Best of all, Humphreys still has the best happy hour nightly drink specials and free live music. So get to downtown and get to Humphreys Bar and Grill, located online at humphreysdowntown.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life, more important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The calendar does read March, and that means it's time for you to enjoy some Talon Heating and Air St. Patty's Day specials. And if utility companies have been taking all the green out of your wallet, Talon Heating and Air, Thomas, has the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow to help you put it back in.
That's right. We have a special right now for all the listeners of this commercial. Get $1,000 off, in addition to excellent savings with the Bosch equipment.
It's Talon Heating and Air St. Patty's Day special, and tell them how they can ring you guys up.
That's right. They can give us a call at 256-503-4490 or at talenthvac.com.
Talon Heating and Air will have you seeing more green this March. And if you're feeling really lucky this March, make sure you join our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bracket Challenge presented by Talent Heating and Air. Maybe they'll have you seeing more green.
The crimson and white jerseys.
Front court to the rack and the plunge.
The sound of a buzzer beater.
Got it to go as the buzzer sounds.
The Roll Tide chant from the crowd. It can only be Alabama basketball. Join the Alabama Crimson Tide right here on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
With over 100 F-150s to choose from and available financing as low as 0%, now is the perfect time to put one in your driveway. It's Truck Month at Woody Anderson Ford. Hi, Bobby White back again, inviting you to come on in for the best selection of F-150s we've had in a while. And if you find one that you like, there is no payment for 90 days. Also during Truck Month, not only do you get 0% financing for up to 36 months, but we've also got 2.9% financing for 5 years on remaining 22 models with your good credit through Ford Motor Credit. This offer ends April 4th. And don't forget, we make it really easy for you to trade in and trade up on a Ford Blue Advantage Gold Certified or Blue Certified pre-owned vehicle. Great warranties, 24-hour roadside assistance, and you take it home with a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Hurry on in for Truck Month. 0% financing, no payments for 90 days, and over 100 F-150s to choose from. Woody Anderson Ford, hope to see you soon.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
This April, the Korn Ferry Tour returns to the Rocket City for the 2022 Huntsville Championship at the Ledges. Experience the beauty and drama of the Ledges in person as golf's rising stars chase their PGA Tour dreams. From the first man on the green to the roar of the crowd when the final putt drops. Be a part of every moment on the mountain. April 28th to May 1st. Tickets to be a part of the action are on sale now at HuntsvilleChampionship.com.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And before we get into just some spring football news and notes here, the Princeton Tigers, by the way, got its first Sweet 16 appearance since 1967. Became the fourth number 15 seed to advance to the Sweet 16. Remember these teams? Florida Gulf Coast in 2013.
Yeah, Andy Edenfield.
Oral Roberts in 2021, and St. Peter's in 2022. It's the third year in a row, Drew, that a number 15 seed will be in the Sweet 16, and so they get Creighton. Now, the other one is Florida Atlantic. They advance to the Sweet 16 for the first time in program history. And this is a pretty good run. We talk about all these big national Power 5 teams getting into the tournament and the expectations and how disappointing it is for Purdue and how disappointing it's been for Arizona and how disappointing it's been for others. But when you're batting 500, that's pretty good. Florida Atlantic, by the way, this is just their second ever trip to the NCAA tournament, and they're in the Sweet 16. So you're 500. That's pretty good.
We talked about it because one of the last times Florida Atlantic had made the tournament, or I guess it was the last time.
And they've only made it twice.
Yeah, the last time they made it was 2002. You were there. They played Alabama in the first round. I think Sidney Green was the head coach, former Nick.
That was in South Carolina.
Yeah, in Greenville, right?
Yep, in Greenville, yeah.
Yeah, Alabama won that game, and it was a struggle, but they won over the 15 seed Florida Atlantic, and then they went on to lose to Antonio Gates and Kent State and Stan Heath in the round of 32.
Yeah, so, we were, as media, not that we were looking ahead, but we were looking ahead.
You were.
Because it was like we were like, okay, where are we going to stay when we get to the next round? Because I believe it was oh, man, where was that next round? I forget where the next round was.
Right.
But that we were in Greenville, and we were there. We got there the day before, and Furman was kind to us, media members. We went over to Furman and got into their auxiliary gym, and we were playing night basketball after we got all the work done. It was like almost 10 o'clock at night, and there was about 20 of us, and we went over by 3 nights straight and played some late night basketball, and that happens a lot in these tournaments. You kind of do some secret things, and Furman gave us a basketball and gave us keys to their gym, and we went over there 3 nights in a row, and we got some late night basketball in. It was fun, and we were literally counting. We thought, we thought Alabama was going to get through, and they did not get through. And little did you know, Antonio Gates,
future Hall of Famer, some 6'6" left-hander that, and Stan Heath used that to go to Arkansas and fall on his face, but
he did. He did.
I mean, and it was disappointing because that Alabama team had won the SEC regular season. They had nearly won the SEC tournament. They lost to Mario Austin, Rick Stansbury, and Mississippi State in the finals. I believe it was like 58-56 by 2 points. It was a 2-point game. And then they had expectations. They were a 2 seed, and you thought they were at least going to get to the Sweet 16. But it was really a great performance by Kent State, and they controlled Alabama the whole way. And the Crimson Tide. That was basically 2 years later now, Mark Godfrey did make a run to the Elite Eight, which was kind of unexpected. He upset number 1 seed Stanford in the round of 32. Then he beat Jim Boeheim in Syracuse and then got eviscerated by future national champion Connecticut by about 30 points. But again, that 0-2 run was disappointing, losing to 10 seed Kent State. But Kent State was a really good team, too, that I think a lot of people had overlooked.
And Duke was in. They didn't play each other, I believe. I believe Duke was there. They were just like in a different region.
Yeah, exactly.
But think about this, though. Madison Square Garden, that's where one of the Sweet 16s will be. I mean, historic Madison Square Garden.
That's where Tennessee's going to play FAU.
Could have had Purdue, Duke, Kentucky, and Michigan State playing. Instead, they get Michigan State, Tennessee, Kansas State, and Florida Atlantic.
Don't tell that to Jerome Tang, though.
I know, but just think about that, though, man. That just tells you how unpredictable. It just tells you how unpredictable.
Could have been some real blue bloods in there, and a couple of them fell flat on their face.
But at the beginning, though, of the year, Tennessee was ranked inside the top 5 in the country.
Right.
Their Ken Palm numbers were just as good on defensive efficiency as anybody in the country. I mean, this Tennessee team, we were talking about how good this Tennessee team is, how good they are defensively. Remember, their numbers were historical early in the year. And then all of a sudden they have injuries, they've kind of fall apart, and they take some steps back, and all of a sudden Tennessee's not the same team that we thought they were. And they get there, and now they're in the Sweet 16. All right, let's get a break in.
Speaking of a team who they thought they were now, it's Arkansas.
Yeah, well, I mean, you thought Arkansas would do this.
Yeah.
They just did it later than we thought they would.
In a different way.
Yes. We will keep our shirts on for this interview, unlike their head coach. We'll talk Arkansas next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect another cold afternoon across the Tennessee Valley. High temperature is going to be topping out in the low 50s for the afternoon, but we will be seeing plenty of sunshine heading into your Monday night. Temperatures expected to bottom out in the low 30s for the overnight, and you can expect to see a mostly clear sky. It looks like rain returns back to the forecast on Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN. The Zone.
Picked up a wreck on County Line at Freedom Way. They had Himsey on it, but they've canceled him now. Pulaski, Pike, and Gus Grissom's a no injury. 800 block of Toluca Road in Morgan County reporting no injury. Got a couple in Limestone, McKee Road and Bridges Road, and Mitchell Loop and Gatlin Road. University westbound east of Jordan should be off in a parking lot. Monroe Road and Commissioner Drive reported with injury, but I think they also canceled Himsey on it. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Wendy's 2 for $6 lets you mix and match some of our best items, like Dave Single with a 10-piece crispy nugs, medium strawberry lemonade with a spicy chicken sandwich, spicy chicken with a Dave Single with a strawberry lemonade, strawberry lemonade, if you're into that. Chicken Sam, crispy nugs, strawberry lemonade, Dave's, nugs, Sam. Whew. Pick what you want at a price you want. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $6. For limited time, price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's. On the card only. Single item at regular price.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Who knows comfort? Well, comfort is our middle name. If your home isn't as comfortable as you want it to be, we can fix that. We service all makes and brands of heating and cooling systems, even if we didn't install them. So give us a call. Environmental Comfort Systems. Visit our website at envcomfort.com. We are your independently owned American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. Alabama license number 92314. Environmental Comfort Systems. That's envcomfort.com.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, Talking Ball, Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. I was just trying to find the Sweet 16 sites.
Yeah.
Okay, it was Chicago, Pittsburgh, Washington, and Dallas.
There you go.
And I believe Alabama would have gone to Pittsburgh, I think. It was Pittsburgh.
Gotcha.
They would have gone in there. But anyway.
So you would have had a Pamanis.
I would have. But anyway. Anyway, we know the Arkansas Razorbacks are headed to the Sweet 16.
Vegas.
And they're headed to Las Vegas. And I don't know. Eric Musselman, I mean, boy, oh boy. I saw the celebration at the end of the game, and I thought
he could take his shirt off in Vegas and he'll fit right in.
Yeah, it's what I was thinking. There's a lot of clubs he could do that in, but I don't think Arkansas wants him at the clubs. No. But anyway, Arkansas is playing like we thought they would play. Not at the beginning of the year, but towards the end of the year, because this team needed time to mesh.
Yeah.
But they're meshing now at the right time.
Yeah, and all of it's basically, to me, it's been put in the rearview mirror. The struggles of the regular season, finishing 8-10 in the SEC, 10th seed in the SEC tournament in Nashville, the disappointing loss. In the SEC tournament quarterfinals. So they've put it in the rear view, and they beat Illinois, a solid Illinois team in round one, and then they really got it going and knocked out number 1 seed Kansas. And we're going to talk about that with Hogsports.com's Curtis Wilkerson, who was there and following this Hog team, and he's going to talk some Arkansas basketball for the next few minutes. Curtis, it's a great run for the Hogs. I know you enjoyed that weekend. For Eric Musselman, how are you doing? Do we have you, Curtis?
All right, Bailey's got to try to get us Curtis back there, Bailey, and just let us know when he is back. You look at this Arkansas team, and Drew, what is it stands out more? Is it the defensive side of the basketball, or is it the ability to shoot the basketball?
Well, I mean, I think for Arkansas with this particular team, it's defense and rebounding. They've had Nick Smith in and out of the lineup. They've had struggles. Anthony Black's been hurt. They have not shot it well from three most of the season. So this Arkansas team is athletic. They're very, very talented. They have some NBA players, and so they just for them they've got to do the dirty work.
Right.
I don't think this is just a team that was as talented. From the standpoint of as a shooting team, there's probably some holes in the roster shooting wise, especially not having Nick Smith for the majority of the season where he missed a lot of conference play. And because when we've seen him, he is tremendous. But now we are going to go back to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We've got Curtis Wilkerson from Hogsports.com. Curtis, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Can you guys hear me now?
Oh yeah, we got you, brother. No doubt. But
okay, all right, good.
We were just kind of talking about this with this Arkansas team. Scott was asking about, what's different about this team. And I said, well, this Arkansas team compared to maybe the last two that have gone to the Elite Eight, not as good a shooting team. It's really a team that's very athletic, that needs to defend and rebound, especially considering Nick Smith has been in and out of the lineup. And Curtis, I'll be honest, we talked to Otis Kirk about this last week. We were both hesitant about Arkansas's first-round matchup, but I picked the Hogs over Illinois, and he said, well, Drew, if they beat Illinois, I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Kansas. He goes, they are capable of doing that if they put it together. And they did it without Nick Smith playing all that well, which to me was the biggest surprise, but a credit to, what Musselman and the guys were able to put together.
Yeah, for sure. You're right. This is a very long and very athletic team. It's kind of interesting. I think that the people in the SEC are pretty much used to it now. I mean, they know what they're going to get with Arkansas, but going up to Des Moines and, having 8 different college basketball programs represented up there with media and coaches and players, and that was just the first words that came out of everyone's mouth in interviews and just around the arenas. Well, they look the part when they get off the bus, and it's kind of been the thing with this Arkansas team. You always knew that was the case. You knew that this team was talented enough to play with and potentially beat anyone. But they're a young team, and it's a group that it took a while to come together. It's kind of like a baby, you got to crawl a little bit before you walk, and everybody does that at their own pace. And so it's interesting to hear Eric Musselman say things like, hey, this is a team that's still getting better. And usually you're not able to say that about a team once they get into March. But because of injuries and things like that, it is a team that's still growing. And so it's a really interesting dynamic to follow. And you're right, about Nick. He has struggled in the NCAA tournament. It hasn't gone the way he's probably hoped for it to. But, those other guys are the ones who really, really have developed chemistry over the course of the season. They were rolling. They got on a 5-game SEC winning streak there in January. As Nick was working his way back, they were playing some of their best basketball then, and the dynamic just completely shifted when Nick got back, because it's just such a big piece to add to your rotation. And that's not a bad thing on Nick's part or anybody else, but it just changes things, and it takes a while to settle in a little bit. So I think what you saw a little bit over the course of the weekend when they beat Illinois and they beat Kansas was those guys kind of getting back to what really, really worked for them earlier in the season. And hey, once you get to this point, you got to do whatever it takes to win.
Fundamentally, what impressed you the most in these two games?
Yeah, well, I think just staying true to their identity, really. Like I said, there was a lot of chatter there about Arkansas's length and their athleticism, and I thought they used it tremendously to take advantage of matchups.
Yeah.
They defended at a very high level. They were able to take guys like Jalen Wilson and Grady Dick against Kansas and frustrate them with that length. They were disruptive. They were excellent on the backboards. I think in the two games combined against Illinois and Kansas, listen, those are big athletic teams. Arkansas was plus 20 overall on the boards. And they got to the rim and they got to the free throw line, and that's something that they typically do, but they haven't been making their free throws down the stretch of the season for whatever reason. But in the biggest moments, up there on the big stage, they were able to step up and knock them down, and they limited turnovers. So, things that have kind of bit them in the past in some of these close games, they got over the hump a little bit last weekend.
Yeah, they did, and I thought Jordan Walsh was tremendous against Kansas. I know he fouled out in the game late, but he got double-figure points for the Hogs and was able to knock down 3 out of 4 free throws down the stretch. You talked about it. Now, Ricky Council didn't have a great shooting game from the field, but he was 10 of 11 from the free throw line. And really the clutch play in the game was that offensive rebound off of the missed free throw and then going back and knocking them both down.
Yeah, for sure. Both those two, those guys were great. Jordan Walsh, we talk about Arkansas growing at this time of the season.
Right.
I don't think anybody showed more growth than Jordan Walsh last weekend. He's so talented. But just a young guy who's gone through it, over the course of the season with inconsistencies, and sometimes he's ultra aggressive and he gets in foul trouble. Other times he's maybe a bit more passive and you want more out of him. But I thought he struck a really, really good balance. You were right. I mean, he was tremendous in that game against Kansas. They kind of sicked him on Jalen Wilson in the second half, and he really did a great job of limiting him. And that's not an easy thing to do for anybody, especially a freshman. Council just looked ultra aggressive. Like you said, he didn't shoot it really well, but he kind of reverted back to form of the guy who was an all-SEC player. He really struggled at the league tournament in Nashville. He had 12 points combined in 2 games, but boy, you couldn't tell it, from the way that he played in Des Moines. Super aggressive, his athleticism shined. And he got to the free throw line where over the course of his career he was well over 80%, but he kind of had some up and down games for Arkansas late in the season. But boy, when they needed somebody to step up and just kind of keep that little bit of breathing room down the stretch, he was the guy that walked up there, calm, cool, and collected, and knocked it down. So it was huge for both those guys.
Eric Musselman people like to take shots at what he does and how he builds teams because he does a lot of it through the transfer portal, not a lot through just pure recruiting and building, but all he has done is taken Arkansas to 3 straight Sweet 16s, 2 Elite 8s, has a chance to make that 3 in a row as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's done an incredible job, and I guess his model of building a program, or his way about going about his business. He's a passionate and intense guy, and it rubs some people the wrong way. But listen, he's got a proven track record of success, and you kind of hit on it there. He's taken Arkansas the second weekend 3 years in a row now. Mm-hmm. People were upset about him taking his shirt off at the end of the game there in Des Moines. But, man, given what this team has been through, a lot of ups and downs, things behind the scenes, injuries, obstacle after obstacle, and for them to be playing their best basketball at this point, that was just a super emotional moment that he got caught up in. I thought it was awesome. He was standing right in front of me, and just to see the players in the locker room and the emotion that they had, some of the things they were saying about just being able to get to that point after everything they've been through, it just felt a little bit different maybe than the last couple of years based on that. But, yeah, Muss has done a terrific job. I think he was kind of ahead of the game when it came to being able to navigate that transfer portal. And he knew that once he came into the league, he was going to have to recruit high-level talent from the high school ranks. And he started to find a good blend of that. And, he's doing a great job. Arkansas fans are lucky to have him.
Yeah, he kind of blended it this year. Ricky Council coming in, but and of course the Mitchell twins, but also the high school ranks as well with Nick Smith, and Walsh, and of course with Anthony Black. So it's basically, to me, if you had told Arkansas fans before the season, hey, you're at least going back to the Sweet 16, even though this has been a bumpy ride, they would have taken this. Now talk about this really intriguing matchup with UConn over in Las Vegas. This is a very talented UConn team that really looked like they were playing at a high level this weekend.
Yeah, those guys are really rolling, man. I watched the game yesterday. They look good. This is a UConn team that really was on an absolute tear early in the season. I think they were ranked number 1 in the country for a while.
Scott referenced that.
And like a lot of teams, you'll see they hit a rut there in January to start league play. I think they lost 6 out of 7 at one point. But if you go over to barttorvik.com, which is it's kind of like KenPom, but it's one of those analytics sites that I really like. You can kind of sort the data based on the different time periods throughout the season. Since February 1st, UConn's the number 3 team in the country. I mean, they've really been playing at a high level. Sonogo is just a monster inside. Really, really talented player. They've got a lot of shooters that complement him and space the floor, and they really get after it, similar to Arkansas with their length and athleticism on the defensive end of the floor. I think it's a really good matchup that sets up for a really good game, and I'm looking forward to diving into it deeper. But Arkansas's got their hands full with the big man down low, and they're going to have to figure out how to run some of those 3-point shooters off the line. Typically, it's something they've done well, but then I think the key to the game is Arkansas going to be able to score consistently enough to keep pace there.
And that would entail they're going to need more out of Nick Smith, you would think, this weekend, Curtis.
Well, you would certainly hope so. I mean, they were able to get past the defending national champs without him, but they had a stellar defensive effort, and some guys step up. Devo Davis. He's just a different animal in March for whatever reason. He does in the NCAA tournament. It's incredible. Arkansas is down a dozen in that game. They really need somebody to put them, kind of on their shoulders, and Devo did that. He scored 10 straight points. He scored 14 of 18 at one point in the second half. He had 21 of his 25 after the break, and that was huge for Arkansas. His confidence, his aggressiveness in that second half, it kind of permeated throughout the rest of the team and sparked that comeback. So, ideally, you really need Nick to get going. He's one of the few guys that can space the floor and give you some perimeter shooting pop, which his team really hasn't had throughout the NCAA tournament so far. So hopefully, he gets a little confidence back and gets rolling. If not, they're going to have those other guys maybe just step it up a notch, and it might take 2 or 3 to do it, but, it worked for him on Saturday. Maybe it'll work for him again next week.
No question. Well, good stuff, Curtis. Let everybody know how to follow you, and that'll be a Thursday, 6:15 on CBS Central Time tip-off, UConn and Arkansas.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I appreciate it. You can follow our work over at hogsports.com. That's HAWGsports.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Give me a follow on Twitter, at @KurtWilkerson_. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Curtis.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, let's get our final break in. When we come back, your tomorrow's headlines today.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Still got a wreck showing on the Parkway at Oak Dairy Lane. That's going to be near Hobbs Road. That one did come in as an injury. Had a vehicle hit a tree there. County Line and Freedom Way reported with an injury, but they canceled Himsey on it. Pulaski Pike and Gus Grissom also may still be trying to clear. Popeye Shrimp Tackle Box has 8 of the crispy Louisiana seasoned butterfly shrimp, a signature side, and a buttermilk biscuit. Just $6. Popeyes, University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
If you're looking for a place where you can find your rhythm and feed your rhythm, then Rhythm on Monroe might be your happy place. Rhythm blends great drinks, cuisine, and live rhythms from local artists throughout the week. Like and follow our Facebook page to see specials in the weekly live entertainment schedule by local entertainers, such as Josh Allison, Preston Watts, Mike Roberts, Connor McMurray, Noel Webster, Ingrid Marie, and others. Open daily at 4 with brunch served on Saturdays and Sundays. Reservations available at rhythmonmonroe.com. Parking at the Von Braun Center is discounted when you provide your receipt at Rhythm on Monroe. One of the best-kept golf secrets in the Tennessee Valley is Cherokee Ridge. Cherokee Ridge truly offers golf at a higher level with immaculate greens set against a spectacular Appalachian backdrop. This 18-hole championship course takes every advantage of rolling hills, whispering woods, lakes, and streams. Interested in becoming a member? Their membership plans feature affordable options for couples, families, and individuals. Book your tee time today, 256-841-4551. Cherokee Ridge. Championship quality, affordable prices.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, so we've told you, we've gotten you updated on the NCAA tournament. We've talked briefly about spring football. It does get underway for Alabama today. Auburn back at it as well, so spring football coming in. But it is and I believe we'll have it for you probably on one of our streams tonight. I haven't looked at the calendar, but Alabama softball in action tonight as they will wrap up their weekend series with Arkansas today. Alabama trying to take the series. That series is tied at 1 game apiece. College baseball, SEC baseball over the weekend. The first full weekend of series is in the books for the SEC as far as baseball goes. Alabama 1-2 after the first weekend. Auburn 0-3 after the first weekend.
It was frigid over there. I was talking to Jason Caldwell in Birmingham, and I think the first pitch of the final game in Arkansas-Auburn was 36 degrees. I mean, it's just and Auburn's banged up. They got some guys with some hamstrings and some injuries.
You're not getting that loosened up at 36 degrees.
That's what's so brutal about baseball, man. When you start conference play, a lot of times it's still cold.
And what a difference a year makes. Tennessee rattled off how many straight conference wins last year to start the year?
They won the regular season and the tournament.
Yeah, they started off 0-3 so far in SEC baseball. They dropped their first series to Missouri.
Well, darn.
Tony Vitello and company. But look, there's so many SEC baseball games left ahead that an 0-3 start is not meaning anything. I mean,
you heard that on 97.7. They ended up moving their game up because of the weather to a doubleheader on Friday because they played the first game Thursday. And Alabama probably should have won 2 out of 3. They should have swept the doubleheader in Gainesville, but they lost it in the 9th inning after leading 4 times and won the last game. Caden Rose hit a big 2-run homer, and Cade Woods closed it out on the mound. But I mean, you can't get too frustrated. You just gotta grind. The SEC is brutal in baseball, man.
Oh, it's awfully tough. This weekend, your series is in the SEC will look like this. Auburn will have Georgia. Auburn will be at home in that series. Alabama will have. I'm trying to see Alabama. Alabama will welcome Kentucky. To Tuscaloosa for a
Mississippi State this weekend.
Yeah, run ruled them, I believe. How different, though? It is so odd now. The SEC doesn't have the run rule in effect for baseball. Yeah. And some of these games, I mean, have just been over like that because of the run rule. All right, so that's just a little bit of update there on your baseball, SEC baseball, SEC softball. Don't forget, Alabama does take on Arkansas today in SEC softball. That one there will wrap up that weekend series.
Yeah, who would have ever thought right now that South Carolina would be 20-1 in baseball under Coach Langston, and they swept this weekend. So right now, this is way early, but South Carolina, Kentucky, and Missouri and Vandy are all 3-0, and those top three nobody would have predicted at the start of the season.
SEC could have three of the best baseball teams in the country.
Arkansas, I think everybody thinks Arkansas is good.
Oh, they've been good the last couple of years. Yeah,
but in LSU, I think is ranked number 1, and they didn't even sweep. But yeah, man, baseball is brutal.
All right, 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on the conversation for just a couple minutes here. And I saw this story from the Strange and Unusual files in Atlanta. You know rapper Rick Ross, right?
I know Rick Ross, yeah.
Okay. He is in trouble.
Oh, Lord.
Because his pet buffalo keep getting out and wandering onto his neighbor's yard.
Let me ask you a question. Where is this property located where you could have buffalo in Atlanta, Georgia? That's all I want to know. Shouldn't this property be in Montana or somewhere? Yeah. I don't know.
Rapper, it says...
This sounds like Michael Jackson when he had all those animals everywhere.
A neighbor has shared footage.
They called it? I don't know.
Yes, a neighbor has shared footage of rapper Rick Ross's buffalo wandering onto her property at least twice last week. They wander on there, they walk through her front yard, and they graze on the grass near her driveway.
Oh, give me a home with a buffalo roam.
Oh, my goodness. Rapper Rick Ross and his pet buffalo. I don't know. I just saw that. I was like, pet buffalo. Oh, build a taller fence. All right.
In Atlanta. I thought he was in, I don't know. Buffalo?
It says Atlanta. I don't know. It's got to be obviously he's not downtown Atlanta with pet buffalo. That's for darn sure.
That would be a little scary.
Anyway, we've been at Bill Penny Toyota all morning long. Don't forget, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. They can service your vehicles. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning in studio. Hopefully it's warmer. It's only 31. Hadn't even got above freezing yet during the show.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the Gold Certified